Hello, brothers and sisters, and mothers and fathers, and uncles and aunts, and grandpas and grandmas, and babies and toddlers, and nieces and nephews, and he and she, and they and them. Everybody, welcome to HD Heroes Diary, the show that celebrates Black success, the Black hero success journey. Why do we do this? What does it mean to create a show around Black success? I think it does matter to speak to ourselves. It does matter to reach out and make and help in whatever little way expand our visions, our horizons to what's possible. Possibilities are endless, but if you don't open up to possibility, you cannot see then the endlessness of it. I came into this to the United Kingdom as a young immigrant a few years ago, obviously with aspirations, with hopes, with visions, global visions in a way, which felt so far-fetched at the time. Because as a young kid growing up in Africa, you can have all these ideas all you want, you can have all these visions all you want, you can have all these dreams all you want, but how is it going to happen? How do you even see the transition from the inception of the dream to the actualization of it? It takes a lot to make dreams happen. And sometimes you need resources, you need money, you need finances, you need support, you need training, you need development. You need so many of these things, which to a large extent, a lot of people in the third world don't have access to. So how do you become successful then? How do you, as a young boy growing up in Nairobi, on the streets of Kenya, on the streets of Tanzania, on the streets of Lagos, and all these other places, how do you even attain to the level of success that you believe is possible to you? You can see it, you can dream it, and you listen to people say it, dream, believe, and all this sort of stuff. But how do you even see it happening? Do you have access to the level of training? Do you have access to the education? Do you have access to the well-being? Do you have access to the mental preparedness? Do you have access to the facilities? We watch athletes, we watch football, we watch sports, we watch musicians and all taking over stuff in the world and dominating at a global stage. But a lot goes into getting to that stage. A lot of training, a lot of development, so many stuff that goes into all this, which a lot of people in this part of the world I am talking about, where I came from, do not have access to. Now, for some of us who've been lucky, maybe I don't know if it's luck, but we've had the fortune of migrating to developed world, getting access to things on a level that we don't have back home. It's been able to help expand our minds, it's been able to help expand our horizon, our vision, our thoughts about ourselves, and our visions about the world, and obviously relating to the world and what is possible. A lot of people don't have this, obviously. From our own race, our own background, especially black people as we are, we suffer a lot as it is, not just in present day, coming from way back up until now. Things are still going, but we don't want to go into all that. But the bottom line is just that there's a bit of a divide. We are not, to a large extent, we are not on the same pedestal as, say, people in the Western world. The child born today in London and the child born today in Lagos, Nigeria, yeah, it's pretty not the same. It's not the same level playing field. Yes, they're the same in the image of God, and the same little children with all of this kind of stuff, but it's not the same level playing field. The exposure, the things this child born in London will have access to is nowhere near what this one in Lagos or Nairobi or Tanzania or any of these places will do. But how can they navigate this journey? Does that mean we're doomed? Does that mean as a black race, as a race, we just have to take our hands and sit down and fold and wait for handouts from the West in terms of loans or whatever it is? Is that all the opportunities we have to become something of ourselves? No, that's not true. We can see so far that even within ourselves, some people like us within ourselves have triumphed these things. Yes, some of them have been fortunate to, like myself, move to the Western world and have access to different point of views and, a more expansive point of view relatively. But in some cases, some people still right where they are have been able to triumph stuff. They've been able to do stuff. They've been able to move from the shortcomings, from the lack, from deprivation, to become something that the world now admires, to become something that the world now celebrates, to become something that the world now looks to and use as a success reference point. Now, creating reference points is always a good idea because it helps you see possibilities. You be able to believe that this can be possible, especially if there are people that you identify with. If you see success in someone who doesn't look like you, who doesn't have the same background as you, who doesn't come from the same struggle as you have, it's hard to really identify with it. If you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to really see it as your own. But if you see someone who's gone through the same struggle as you have, or at least similar, or in some cases even more than you have, who's come from the same deprivation as you have, who's come from the same lack as you have, who's come from the same whatever you want to call it, but yet they have somehow gone on to triumph that deprivation, to become something that you now say that it's possible. So if you have people like that, especially the people who are your skin color, your location, your the same heritage and stuff like that, then it makes it more personal to you. It makes you believe that perhaps it is possible. Perhaps I can be this as well. But another thing is, if we don't know, how will you be able to identify with it? The problem is we don't own the media. We don't own Hollywood. We don't own CNN and all these big media to be able to tell our stories and push it and shove it in the world's eyes to make them see that this is who we really are. No, we don't. But if we don't create those avenues to be able to showcase our own success stories, not because we want to flash it, not because we want to do shakara or we just want to do stuff to the world. No, but because we want to remind ourselves that, hang on, despite the fact that we didn't start from where this guy started from, we are actually running things. We are actually doing things. There are people who are actually making things happen. If we begin to do more of this, then naturally, subconsciously, we begin to intuitively identify and believe that success is possible. Obviously, there's so many examples over time in history. Someone doesn't break a record. The moment one person breaks it, everybody begins to break it over time and over again. And this is exactly what it is. So once we begin to celebrate more of our success and showcase it to our world, subliminally, subconsciously, intuitively, we are identifying more. We begin to tell younger generations, the little kids that are growing up, they begin to see that, okay, maybe I actually can. Maybe I can triumph these shortcomings. Maybe I can triumph this deprivation around me. Maybe despite this lack, despite being born in this village where it's all contaminated water, we can't even get normal drinking water and stuff like that. Despite that, I can still be successful because there are people like me who've done it and gone on to become something. And then we just have to now follow their steps and try to imitate what they've done to be able to achieve the same kind of success, and obviously different success because everyone's different. Success is different and everyone has different journey in life. So how can we begin to showcase our own success? Listen, you can be successful. Other people have, not necessarily showing off, not necessarily having to wear the blings and all this kind of stuff just because you want to show off. No, but we can do it as a statement, as a success statement, that look where we've come from, look where we started from, look where we are now. That is the journey, and this is Hero's Diary. So we want to search, we will troll the world, we will go from end of the world to bring up people, black people, who have demonstrated this journey in their lives. Sometimes having that level of appreciation, having that level of commendation, it's great. It's great for the spirit. It just makes you feel like, yes, maybe you've achieved what you have, but you haven't done it in a vacuum. You've done it for a race. You've done it for a people. You've done it for a generation. And that is inspiring somebody else. So in the near future, we can aspire to a world where we as black people are as equal, are as smart, are as dominant, and as successful and as wealthy as any other race in the world, without being the guys who are just the ones that's having the handout, or the little guys at the bottom where we can just throw the little leftovers to, or just leave them to scramble, or just wallow in their own little. We can be the same thing as everybody else. We can be at equal, if not better. Obviously, these things will take time, and this is part of the process of it. So that's why we've created Hero's Diary. This is stuff I thought of. I thought of my own personal journey, and of course, I'm not where I hope to be or wish to be in life, but I'm in an appreciable position. considering where I was coming from. I can tell my own story. I can see the journey. I can see the progress. I can see improvement. I can see blessing. I can see all these things, and I know that it is possible. I know that we can be successful without necessarily having to resort to crime and fraud. And I'm not here to judge anyone, but all I am saying is it is possible. I know that it is possible. Like I said, I'm not where I want to be. I'm nowhere near where I dreamed I really want to be in life, but I'm in an appreciable place considering where I'm coming from. And it's been a journey, and I will never trade my journey for anything else. If I was to come back, I think I'd love to go through it again, because there's so much that I've gone through. There's so much that I've been through in the journey of life, from being a little boy that was born in Lagos, Nigeria, a few decades ago, to migrating to the United Kingdom, to living in London, and having a family, and having a beautiful wife and children, and living a really appreciable life. That can always and will keep getting better, but at this stage it's full of gratitude, it's full of appreciation, it's just full of blessings. And it was just never the case. It was never the case a few years, some years ago. It was all dreams and visions and wish, and can you be this? Can this happen? Will this happen? I didn't know. It was just one step after another, after another, after another. And gradually it's getting to a point where it's all about appreciation. It's all about gratitude. It's all about blessings. It's all about giving, thinking of how to not give back to make other people see the possibility. Giving back not necessarily in terms of throwing money at people, but giving back in the sense that making younger people or other people see possibility. See that maybe it's actually possible. Maybe you can actually be successful. How do we do this? Let's just celebrate ourselves for a start. Obviously, as we go on, we'll devise other means to just get it in our heads that we can be successful people. But at the moment, let's celebrate ourselves. Let's celebrate ourselves, not because we want to show off, not because we want to bring you here and say, oh, this guy has 10 Bentleys, that one has 10 Ferraris, and that one has 5 private jets. No. If we're bringing that, it's because we need to see that maybe there's a story there. Maybe there's an arc. Maybe there's a journey. Maybe there's something someone can learn from it to become as successful as they are. And to learn the journey, to learn the story, so that it can inspire other people to be able to track this journey to become like they have. So it's not about showing off. Obviously, it's good to flaunt things. It's good to be entertaining, to do things for the value of entertainment and stuff like that. But what's the core of it? What do we want to learn from it? We don't want to do it in an oppressive state. We don't want to be oppressing each other, even as a community. I don't want to flaunt my wealth just to show you that I am better than you. There's no point to that. If I've got wealth, I've been blessed with wealth. It's a blessing. It's not because I am special. It's not because I can do or be, or I have talents or stuff that other people don't. Usually you would see that in a lot of cases, the more successful people are not necessarily the most talented. They're not necessarily the most gifted. They're not those who do the most. They don't work the hardest and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, you find that a lot of people who even work the hardest, who are the most talented, have less. But hey, what's possible is that success can be achieved if we track the journey of others, and if we celebrate it so that it becomes a status quo, it becomes something that we all can identify with. This is why we've created Hero's Diary. This is what I thought of, and the journey to creating it was always not an easy one. Obviously, it's the same journey as I believe anybody that has created or invented any great invention, which I hope and believe this is one of it, would understand. It's always a difficult journey starting ideas from the scratch, just having ideas, because everyone has ideas. Everyone has a litany of ideas, like ideas flying all over the place. You've got this, you want to do it. You've got that, you want to do it. But being able to think of it and then start it and then keep going and then face the obstacles, face the downfalls, face the defeats, face the difficult times, face all of that, and keep going and begin to make it until it actually begins to have a life of its own. It's a huge thing, and it's why there's not so many success full, as much as there are unsuccessful people, because it's really, really hard to go through those. But going through it is what you have to do, having the vision, having the passion, having the belief and all that. So for us, it was just having this thought. I thought of it, I dreamt it, it was my idea, and I wanted to see it come to life. And the least I could do was stick by it, believe in it, pray over it, work, and more work on it. Work on it with a vision, with a clarity, with a purpose, with a sense of identity, with a sense of uniqueness. I think these are really key things. And for me, they matter more. And that's why it's stuff I thought of. And that's why I felt this is really important. I think it's very important that we told our stories. I think it's very important that we celebrated our successes. I don't think we should shy away. I don't think we should hide and be modest and just say, no, we don't want nobody to know. No, I think we should show it to the world. I think we should shove it at the world. Let them actually see that we are successful. Not because we want to brag about it, but because we want to inspire ourselves, and because we want to have a seat at the table. Because we want to know that, listen, you're not necessarily better than me. The fact that you're at the table before me, doesn't necessarily mean you're better than me. Doesn't necessarily mean you own the table. You're just there before me. Fair enough. I'm on my way there. And then some of us get to the table, we celebrate it. Yes, we got people at the table, so other people are coming to the table as well. Because once you see you got a brother who's from your background, who's from your, self, underprivileged, whatever background that's at the table, why can't you be at the table as well? So celebrate ourselves more, because there are people back home, especially in Africa and other parts of the world, who just need to see that, yes, things are actually possible. Because for us, we're fortunate enough to live in the Western world. It's easy for us to just feel that we can be all right, things can go, and we take a lot of things for granted. You can't be telling you flick on the light, there's lights, you turn on the tap, there's water, you have food, you get into Tesco, you're eating the same thing, about the same thing as the person who's living in the rich part of town is living. And not a lot of people have this privilege. Not a lot of people have this. I didn't grow up. Growing up for me, food was luxury. For a lot of kids growing up around the world, this is not normal. This is not status quo. It's not easy for them to just go in their fridge and just open it and there's an apple lying there, or a banana, or a pot of rice, or a bowl of stew or something. No. For them, they have to work hard. They have to eat whatever is available to them, sometimes go without. Despite all that, we are making progress, and we want to just show that it is possible, and to help and to reach back, obviously, at some point, because that's another thing. Again, it's not just about celebrating, and those we are celebrating at some point, we are also going to be finding a way for them to actually reach back. The good thing is that a lot of people who are bringing on this show in their own relative way are finding ways to help back, to help the community, but we want to make it even more pronounced, to be about us. Let's not be scared to help ourselves. Let's not be scared to tell our own stories. There's nothing wrong in me putting the black community first. There's nothing wrong in me thinking the black community has to move, has to succeed, has to be successful. There's nothing wrong in me saying that. Yes, it doesn't make me racist. It doesn't make me segregative. It doesn't make me think less of anybody else. It only makes me give the best. And we know so many sects, so many races in the world do this. And that's why they're ahead. That's why they're ahead, without necessarily mentioning anyway. There's so many races across the board who they come first. Their own people come first. If we begin to see ourselves as that, if we can have that unity, that unifying thing, without necessarily hurting or downplaying anybody else, just focus on ourselves, our needs, our beliefs, our successes, our stories, our journeys, and help us create that, we can have a much better life. And it will eventually be better for everyone, because then we can have greater successes, we can have greater impacts in the world, we can relate with others in the world on a respectful basis without being the slaves. We don't have to be the slaves. Yes, it has happened in the past. There's nothing we can do about the past. But hey, there's a lot we can do about the future. And this is the start. This is the beginning. So yes, you should join us on this journey. If you're a hero, if you know a hero that needs to be celebrated, first of all, try and celebrate them. But feel free to let us know. Let's contact them. Let's tell their stories. We are creating a platform that by God's special grace will reach out to the world. Will be as huge and as big to showcase to the world that people everywhere, in every part of the world that needs to hear it, will have access to it and hear it at some point. It's a growing thing. It's a vision. It's a plan, and it's a work in progress. But we're glad to take on the job. It's beautiful. It's great. It's heartfelt. It's compelling. It's like a message. Something that you just feel you have to do. So if you're a young black guy or a young black girl or a young black person anywhere in the world, believe it that you can be successful. People have gone before you, they've done it. People from even more difficult background than you have gone and become successful. So if they can do it, you can. Just listen to their story, watch their stories, see how they have done it, and learn. Things take time, no doubt, but it is possible. At the end of the day, it's about creating a situation or a scenario where us as black people begin to see more success within us. Believe that it's possible. We don't always have to see ourselves and think, oh, how are we going to do it? How are we going to? No, 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 no. We can be successful. So let's celebrate those who are successful already amongst us so that we can breed more and more and more success. Enough said. I just want to thank you for always watching with us, for supporting us, and for pushing this. We are taking this to the world. We want to show everybody in the world, especially people of our race who are based in any part of the world, let them see the work that's been done. Let them see more success and learn how to celebrate ourselves. We must celebrate as black people. We can, because yes, we can.